Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff names the advantage she thinks she is going into her match with Naomi Osaka at the US Open. When the US Open draw was made, one particular projected fourth-round fixture was highlighted as a blockbuster clash. Now, a week on, we have it. Coco Gauff will face Naomi Osaka for a spot in the quarterfinals. Both are former champions and have been inextricably linked ever since the former, at just 15 years of age, faced the Japanese superstar on Arthur Ashe around 6 years ago. So much has changed for both of them since then, and they come into the match as two titans of the sport, both fancied to challenge for this US Open title. Whoever wins this showdown will certainly enhance their credentials to do just that. However, it's Gauff who thinks she has a slight advantage, as she would tell the press after her third-round win. Coco Gauff previews her US Open match versus Naomi Osaka. She admitted, "I think it's an advantage, for me mentally, I think, to play a caliber opponent as her. I think sometimes even though all the women on tour are incredible, but when you have these matchups where you're so heavily favored, it puts more pressure, I think, than when you're playing someone who, I guess, the odds people view it differently. If I were to play her, I think she's having a great season and always a tough player and a threat, especially on hard court. So I think that match, I guess odds-wise, can really go either way, and I think for me that almost takes the pressure off." Martina Navratilova noticed how Gauff's box reacted to her third-round win at the US Open, which was far more comfortable and relaxed than the previous one. They will be just as stressed as the 21-year-old is about ensuring they perform admirably enough at her home Grand Slam. Coco Gauff's head-to-head record versus Naomi Osaka. Gauff and Osaka, as noted earlier, have been tied together for years now. That being said, they have played just 5 times across their careers, with the former actually holding a slender lead of 3 wins to 2. Their 2019 US Open match came far too early for the youngster to be considered a genuine threat, but just months later, she got her revenge in Melbourne, dethroning the reigning champion in the round of 32. The following year Osaka was back on top, winning in Cincinnati, before 2022 saw Gauff level the head-to-head. In the end, it was an Osaka mid-match retirement that skewed the record in the Americans' favor, forced to withdraw from their Beijing battle with the scores at 2 sets apiece. It will be really interesting to see whether the head-to-head is once again leveled early next week, as the 27-year-old books her spot in the quarterfinals. The inner game, Coco Gauff's quiet advantage against Naomi Osaka, under the bright lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium, amidst the buzz of anticipation and the ghosts of tennis legends past, a new chapter in a compelling rivalry is about to unfold. Coco Gauff versus Naomi Osaka, 2 names that have become synonymous with power, poise, and a generation-defining kind of tennis. But this year at the US Open, as they prepare to face each other once again, Coco Gauff believes she holds a subtle yet significant edge. "I think my advantage is how much I've grown mentally," Gauff told reporters on the eve of their highly anticipated match. It was a quiet admission, not meant to provoke but to reflect, and perhaps to remind everyone just how far she's come. A rivalry born in grace and grit. When Gauff and Osaka first met at the 2019 US Open, the moment was bigger than the match. Then just 15 years old, Gauff was crushed in straight sets by the reigning champion. But what stood out most wasn't the scoreline. It was what happened after. Osaka, then 21, invited Gauff to join her for the post-match interview, creating one of the most gracious, tear-streaked, and viral moments in tennis history. In many ways, their stories have mirrored each other. Both entered the sport as prodigies. Both have felt the weight of expectations far beyond the court. And both have grown not only as players, but as powerful voices in the world. But Coco Gauff, now 21, sees this match not just as a rematch, but as a reset. The maturity edge. People underestimate the mental side of tennis. Gauff said in the pre-match press conference, "We're all great athletes. We've all trained hours a day, hit thousands of forehands. But in the big moments, in front of 20,000 people, with millions watching, your mind can be your biggest ally or your worst enemy." She would know. Over the last few seasons, Gauff's mental game has transformed. Once visibly frustrated on court, She now displays a level of composure that belies her age. She credits sports psychologists, her support team, and most of all, experience. "I've learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable," she said, a nod to the high-pressure situations she now seems to thrive in, including her stunning run to the U.S. Open title last year. That title changed everything, not just for her ranking or her endorsements, but for her belief. "I belong here," she said simply. "I've proven that to myself." The Osaka factor. But standing across the net will be Naomi Osaka, a four-time Grand Slam champion and a player known for rising to the occasion. After taking time off for mental health, motherhood, and reflection, Osaka has returned with a different kind of fire. Her game, while still a work in progress, remains dangerous. She hits the ball so clean, so heavy. "If you give her time, she'll take the match away from you," Gauff said. "But I've also studied her game for years. I know what to expect now." The advantage, Gauff believes, is that while Osaka is still finding her rhythm post-return, she herself is peaking. And beyond the stats or the serve speed, that mental clarity might make all the difference. "I've been here. I've played these moments. I've failed in them. And I've learned," Gauff said. From the outside in, to fans, this match represents more than just a ticket to the next round. It's the intersection of legacy and momentum. Osaka, the seasoned warrior with a reawakened spirit. Gauff, the defending champion with a rising tide behind her. Tennis writer Amanda Lewis put it this way: "This is not just a match. This is a mirror. They see pieces of themselves in each other, and we see the future of the sport in both." Even their styles reflect a fascinating contrast. Osaka's game is built on clean aggression, laser-like precision, and a calm, almost meditative demeanor on court. Gauff brings electric footwork, defensive brilliance, and a newfound aggressiveness that makes her dangerous from anywhere on the court. "I'm not afraid to take the shot now," Gauff said. "That's part of the mental growth." A quiet battle of wills. When they walk onto the court, there will be cheers, flashbulbs, and an undercurrent of awe. But for Gauff, the real battle begins in the silence, in that moment before the first serve. "It's about managing the noise inside your own head," she said. That, she says, is her advantage. Not her backhand, not her speed, not even the crowd, which will undoubtedly favor the hometown champion. It's her mind. "I used to panic when I got tight. Now I recognize it. I breathe. I reset. That's the difference." And what of Osaka? She's dangerous. Always will be. But I'm not the same 15-year-old she played back then. A match to remember. Whether Gauff's mental edge holds remains to be seen. Matches like this, between two champions, two icons, two women with something to prove, are unpredictable. But one thing is certain. This match will not just be played on hard court, but in the space between belief and doubt. As Gauff takes her place on the court, there will be a glint in her eye. Not of fear, but of focus. "I respect her," she said of Osaka, "but I don't fear anyone anymore." In that statement lies her quiet advantage. And in that mindset, perhaps, lies the makings of another unforgettable U.S. Open moment.